Hello, welcome to the English Habit. I'm Ella, and I'm so glad you're here. This video is for beginner learners. Today I'm talking with my friend Ivy about her favorite books and reading journeys. It's slow and easy, so use the pictures to help. Let's begin. Ivy, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Ivy. Nice to meet everyone. I'm 22 years old from Portland, Maine, in the United States. I work as a florist at a flower shop, and I love stories.
Portland sounds lovely. Thanks, Ivy. Let's talk more. Okay, Ivy, let's start with your favorite books. What's a book you love to read? Maybe one you go back to often, and why is it so special to you?
I love The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I read it at least once a year, usually in spring because it feels so fresh. It's a story about a girl who finds a hidden garden and makes it grow, with help from her friends. The book has beautiful words, like they paint pictures of flowers and secret places. I first read it when I was 8, curled up in my bed with a flashlight, and it felt like magic. It's special because it reminds me of my grandma who gave me her old copy with yellow pages. She'd read it to me, and we'd talk about gardens, which is why I became a florist, I think. I love the idea of finding something forgotten and bringing it back to life, like planting roses at work. I keep the book on my shelf, and when I open it, I smell old paper, which makes me smile. In Portland, I read it by the ocean sometimes, sitting on a bench with waves nearby, and it's like I'm in the story. The characters feel like friends, especially Mary, who's curious like me. I've cried at parts, even now, because it's about hope and growing up. I tell my coworkers about it, and we swap book ideas over coffee. In winter, I read it under a blanket, and in summer, I take it to a park. It's a book that grows with me, and every time I find something new, like a secret I missed before. I think it's a story for everyone, because who doesn't want to find a hidden place and make it beautiful?
That sounds so heartwarming, Ivy. I'm adding The Secret Garden to my list. What about another book? Maybe one you found somewhere different or love for a new reason.
I read The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho when I visited Boston last year, and it changed how I think. It's a story about a boy who travels to find treasure, but it's really about following dreams. I bought it at a small bookstore in Boston, with creaky floors and stacks of books everywhere. I was on a weekend trip with my sister, and we sat in a cafe reading together. The book's words are simple but deep, like they make you think about your life. I loved reading it by Boston's harbor, with boats and seagulls around, because it felt like I was on a journey too. The story talks about signs and destiny, and I started noticing little things, like a flower falling at work, as messages. I finished it in 2 days, and I cried at the end because it was so beautiful. Back in Portland, I read it again, slower, underlining lines I liked. I keep it by my bed, and sometimes I open it to a random page for inspiration. In Boston, I tried new foods, like clam chowder, and the book made everything feel like an adventure. I gave a copy to my sister, and we talk about it, like how the boy learns to listen to his heart. It's special because it came at a time when I was wondering what I wanted, and it gave me courage to keep going, like planting new flowers at the shop. I want to visit that bookstore again and find another book like it. Maybe something about the sea, since I love Maine's coast. The Alchemist is like a map, showing me dreams are worth chasing, and I'll carry it with me always.
That's so inspiring, Ivy. I want to read The Alchemist now. Let's talk about reading. Where do you love to read? And How did you make it a habit?
I love reading in my flower shop after work because it's quiet and smells like roses. The shop's small, with big windows and vases everywhere, and I sit on a stool by the counter with a book. I started reading there when I got the job because I'd finish early and have time before closing. It's my favorite place because the flowers make me calm and I feel like I'm in a story. I read for 30 minutes most days, maybe a chapter or two, and it's my way to relax. I bring tea, usually chamomile, and sip it while turning pages. At home, I read in a chair by my window, looking at trees, especially in fall when leaves are red and gold. I made reading a habit in school when I'd hide in the library to escape math. I'd pick adventure books, and soon I was reading every night. Now, I always have a book with me, in my bag or car, because you never know when you'll wait somewhere. In Portland, I go to a lighthouse sometimes, and I read on the rocks with waves crashing. It's cold, but I wear a scarf and stay for hours. I read on buses too, when I visit my mom an hour away. Reading's like breathing for me, because it takes me places without moving. I try new books, like mysteries or poetry, and I borrow them from the library because I'm not rich. I talk about books with customers at the shop, and they give me ideas like romance or history. My habit grew because I let myself love stories, and every place, shop, home, lighthouse, feels better with a book. I think reading's a gift because it's free and endless, and I'll read forever, no matter where I am.
That sounds so cozy, Ivy. I can picture you with flowers and books. What's a reading journey you dream of? Maybe a book or place you want to explore.
My biggest dream is to read old novels in England, like Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice in a village there. I love her books, with fancy words and love stories, and I want to sit in a cottage, maybe in Bath, where she lived, reading by a fireplace. I'd visit bookstores with dusty shelves, buying books with leather covers, and read in gardens with tea and scones. I'd walk hills, imagining characters in long dresses, and feel the story come alive. I'd learn British words like cheers for thanks and talk to people about books. I'd stay for a month, reading a new Austen book each week, like Emma or Sense and Sensibility, and write about them in a journal, maybe sketching houses I see. England would feel like stepping into a page with fog and flowers, and I'd read at night with candles because that's how I picture it. I'd try fish and chips because I heard it's good and eat while reading. Another dream is reading myths in Greece on an island with blue water. I'd pick books about gods like the Odyssey and read on a beach with waves and white houses around. I'd learn Greek words like kalimera for good morning and visit ruins imagining heroes. I'd sail to islands, reading on boats, tasting olives and bread. Greece would feel like a legend, and I'd draw the sea in my notebook. England and Greece are my dreams, but I'd read anywhere with stories and beauty. Books are my wings, taking me far, and I want to chase every tale from Austen's dances to Odysseus's seas, sharing them with anyone who loves words.
This was so wonderful, Ivy. Now I want to hear your questions. What do you want to ask me?
Ella, what sets a book you love?
I love Charlotte's Web. It's about a pig and a spider, and it's so sweet and kind.
Nice. What dis? A reading dream.
I'd love to read poetry in France in a Paris cafe with croissants and soft verses.
That sounds beautiful. Thanks, Ella.
Thank you, Ivy. Everyone, like and subscribe to the English Habit new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Bye.